Call our meeting to order for the Raymore City Council regular meeting for Monday, February the 22nd, 2021. So this council regular meeting will be conducted virtually with council members conferencing into the meeting. In consideration of COVID-19 cases in Cass County and the city of Raymore, the public is encouraged to participate from home. There's limited space available in center view should the public wish to attend. The public can also view the meeting live by going to www.raymore.com/video. The public can submit comments at any point during the meeting by emailing Mr. Mike Ekey at mekey@raymore.com, and those comments will be read aloud at the public comments section 11, part of the agenda. I'll call the meeting to order again and ask for the roll call.
Councilmember Abdelgawad.
Here.
Councilmember Barber. Councilmember Berenson. Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Circo.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Present.
Councilmember Townsend.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present. We're all present and accounted for. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now move on to, we have no presentations or awards or personal appearances tonight, so we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just for the council's information before I begin calling on staff, you probably did not hear Councilmember Berenson announce himself as here. He has no audio tonight, so he's going to be voting with thumbs up or thumbs down for us, and he waved to us to let us know that he was present, so he is here with us this evening. With that being said, I would ask Mr. Ekey to make a staff report on tomorrow night's community conversation.
Thank you, sir. Had our final kind of tech rehearsal today with the KU Public Management Center as we get ready for the community conversation tomorrow night. Just to let council know, just both as kind of just a brief update on the agenda, but also to let council know kind of what members will be doing. We have invited all of the council members to be here at Centerview. We'll have everyone socially distanced and partitioned off. We'll also have dinner available for everyone, and we are asking that everyone be here by 5:30 for the event to start at 6. We'll have a brief introduction and welcome by the mayor, and then an introduction to the program by Patty Gentrup from the KU Public Management Center. We'll then have a brief presentation that I'll be giving about some of the successes from the previous community conversation and some of the projects that we have seen come to light from that. And then during the breakout sessions, as we're asking individuals, as everyone's going to be on Zoom, KU has created a system where they'll be creating the breakout rooms, and so they'll be managing those. And as everybody is in their breakout room, we'll have staff kind of monitoring those conversations and taking the notes as we did with the last community conversation. But the council members will still be here physically in the room, and so we won't be placing the room into a breakout session. Instead, what we'll be doing is we'll be engaging the council in the same conversation, asking some of the same questions, but garnering feedback and holding kind of the discussion here just among the council members to hopefully answer some of those same questions that our residents and stakeholders will be answering. Those comments and conversations will be just for the council here, and then we'll compile those, just kind of the old-fashioned way with the board and the marker, and then we'll compile that information to be part of the report. But we'll be going through that through 2 different sessions. There'll be 30-minute long sessions. And then we'll come back, and again, council will be part of the bigger general sessions where members will be or participants will be voting on the themes and kind of prioritizing those lists as we did in previous sessions. And that really is going to be about as similar to what we have done in past community conversations. So wanted to give you just kind of a quick heads up of what you'll be seeing, what to expect. If you're getting questions from any residents who have been asking you about the sessions themselves, just so that they know and you kind of aren't surprised on the night when you come. If you have any questions, I'm definitely happy to answer. One thing I did want to mention just before I finished was we do have currently about 65 folks signed up for the event itself. And so I know we still have some spots if folks want to register here at the very last second, and look forward to having the event tomorrow night.
Any questions of Mr. Ike? Yes, Ms. Abdelgawad.
Sorry, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Easy, could you send out, is there a link we could share with people maybe to fill those last spots?
Yes, so we have been promoting it not just in the weekly report with a link to the website where folks can sign up, but we also had a post today that garnered about 15 new signups just this morning. If you go to raymore.com/community, residents can find all the information about the event itself, and we do still have the registration page up. They just have to click that registration button on that raymore.com/community.
We're also sending out a reminder to everyone who has already registered tomorrow. That reminder will encourage them to participate via tablet or computer or laptop because they will be able to participate in the Zoom portion of the meeting using their telephones or their cell phones, but they would not be able to participate in the voting and the establishing the themes. So, but they could do everything else using their phone. But we really want to get the maximum amount of participation from them. So we'll be reminding everybody who registered. And then at the beginning of the meeting, Patty Gentrup will be because we anticipate that there are going to be some people who jump on who have not registered ahead of time. So she'll be reminding folks who jump on just before the meeting that it would be better if they could be on their tablet or their laptop.
Okay, anyone else? Yes, Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just curious, what's our capacity for doing this virtually?
So we can host, really our capacity is only limited by the number of volunteers to help be table leaders. And so we had, initially kind of put a soft limit of about 150 on it, just because once we get even higher, we run out of staff volunteers that we can drag in and arm twist to help lead a table for a night.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Mr. Fearborn, carry on.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report for Public Works.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Hope everybody had a chance to enjoy the spring-like weather today. It's hard to believe a week ago we were talking about record low temperatures. Wanted to share some statistics with you, and the reason I wanted to do that is these are normally statistics we see for an entire snow event or snow season from December to February. But just alone in the month of February, operations and maintenance responded to 10 snow events. We used 800 tons of salt, worked 1,279 hours of overtime, and cleared over 3,000 lane miles of streets. So I just wanted to point that out. We have pushed that out on Facebook and are getting a lot of thank you from our residents. My folks do appreciate that. With that concludes my staff report, and I'm available for any questions.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Krass? Any comments? Okay, Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Mr. Krass. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a staff report for Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the council, I have submitted a written staff report. I wanted to highlight one of my newest staff members, Corinne Doubt. She is, we hired her from about a year ago, and she formerly worked with the police department. So she was an internal hire that we're extremely proud of, and I just wanted to provide a summary within my staff report, and you guys can read it. I wrote it out so that I wouldn't have to remember all of the things that she's done over the year, but she has become a valuable asset to our team, and we're extremely proud of her. She's already making her name on the national level in terms of in Parks and Recreation with esports and gaming and all of those types of things. So she's just done a fantastic job, and I wanted to make sure that she's noted for those things that she's doing for our department. Secondly, the rink, we're coming up on the last weekend of the season for the rink. what we are going to do this weekend is, well, throughout this week, we're doing private reservations tonight and all the way through Thursday, which it's every night we have private reservations. Most of those are makeups from previous events canceled due to snow. This weekend will be our last rental, and then basically Monday morning we unplug the rink and we let it melt and we start putting it up for the season. And I'm pretty sure that my guys are, for some reason, are excited to see baseball and see lawnmowers at this point. I'm sure they're sick of doing ice right now. So the rink has been very popular, been a great learning experience. We've come away with a lot of ideas of how we want to make this work next year. We're going to come up with a good business plan based on the lessons we learned this year, but we're excited to have the amenity, and I know the residents were pleased with being able to use it this year. Finally, on my part, is Centerview has been kind of the hub of our public meetings, and with the resources that we have here, several outside entities have used Centerview for its Zoom capabilities and stuff. So Wednesday night after the last meeting, on Thursday morning basically, we're moving all the equipment out, and we are going to sand the wood walls and restain the walls, kind of give Centerview interior a freshened look about it. My maintenance guys have taken advantage of the recent weather and not being able to work outside. They've repainted everything, patched walls from the kitchen and the restrooms and the lobby. So we're going to take care of the wood walls this week, and we will then clean the padded areas inside here in the wall and shampoo the carpets and really clean it up, getting ready for the public to be able to use it again once we've reopened. And that concludes my staff report.
Thank you, Nathan. Any questions of Mr. Mustine? Oh, Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not just a question, just an update for Mr. Mustine. I know you had reached out to the Optimist Club regarding their shelter, and we have talked through that, and that is a goal from our side of it. So I know you wanted to get the maintenance started on that, so we are cleared hot for that as well.
Mr. Townsend, if I could ask you to repeat the question, you were kind of cutting in, you were very jarbled during the question.
Yes, I just wanted to update Mr. Mustine. He had a question for our club regarding the Optimist Club shelter, and we have approved the funding for the club to pay for the repairs.
Right. Okay, very good. I'll just repeat that so that everybody can hear. The Optimist Shelter at Recreation Park was originally built by the Optimist Club back in the 90s. Over the years, we've painted it and repaired things. It's in need of some repairs. Siding is kind of rotted and stuff like that. So we submitted a request to the Optimist Shelter if they would provide the funding for those repairs, that my staff would do the work, and they have approved that. And so just a few $100s they will provide, they will reimburse for our cost, and our guys will take care of those renovations this spring when the weather is sufficient. So thank you, sir. Thank you to the Optimist Club.
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Fearborn, anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would ask Ms. Harmer to make a report for communications.
Thank you, sir, and good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I wanted to give an update on the use tax information that's going out to our residents and businesses. We do have an informational mailer that will be in mailboxes of all of our homes and businesses next week. It is a breakdown, it includes a breakdown of what a local use tax is and exactly how we would use that revenue if approved by voters. It also directs readers to our website for more information and also to find answers to frequently asked questions. And it also gives Mr. Ickey's phone number and email for anyone that has any further questions. The web page is live right now at raymore.com/use tax. And we will also have postcards, or I'm sorry, if I didn't say, that will be in mailboxes by the end of next week, before the end of next week. We'll also have postcards for you and for our people here at the city to have on hand for anyone that has information. I'll have those for you next week as well. And then we'll actually be doing a second mailing at the end of March to remind people right before April 6th about the issue. And also the exact ballot language is included in this first mailer too, so that everybody knows exactly what they're looking for on the ballot. And I believe that concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Harmer? Okay. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Ms. Harmer. I would ask Ms. Jardu to make a report on the comprehensive plan, our monthly report.
Thank you, sir, and members of the council. An update for the strategic plan is that outlines have currently started for all the plans that have been started. A couple more will be starting in the coming month. A strengths and weaknesses, as well as an inventory analysis, is underway for the various plans, and the staffing study, which was concluded, I believe, last month, will become part of the strategic plan as well and assist the various departments. And what we're really excited about is the community conversations tomorrow night, which will help direct the priorities and direction for the different plans on what the residents are looking to see. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Mr. Fearborn?
Thank you, Ms. Jardu. Just a reminder to the council that next Monday, March 1st, we do have a work session as we are planning on the March 1 date for reopening our buildings. It will be very, very good to see you all in person. We will be at City Hall in council chambers. We will have the chambers set up for the social distancing, just like the last time we met there before we went back to the Zoom-type meetings. There are currently 2 items on the agenda for that work session. The economic development update, which has been long coming now that we're experiencing the spring thaw. We've got a number of projects to update the city council on. And we will also be presenting a little bit overdue, my fault in not correctly scheduling it, but the council will remember that you requested an annual calendarized yearly calendar report from the police department on various statistics associated with their department, and the chief will be giving that report next Monday night at work session as well. Second item that I wanted to update the council on is you'll remember that we had the first read for the HVAC maintenance at your last regular meeting. We have pulled the second read for that. We had a couple of Scribner's, I'll describe them as Scribner's changes to the contract that their attorney had not had the opportunity to see. He apparently just got to those today and has been able to give his approval to all of our changes and any of the background that they wanted to bring to it. So we thought, just to be sure that everybody was on the same page, we should pull it from the agenda at this point in time, but it will be on with those modified changes, very, very minor, at your next regular council meeting. Third item I wanted to update the council on, just in case you would happen to see it on any social media. Today, one of our community development folks was driving past Golden Corral, the closed Golden Corral, and noted water sheeting across the parking lot that seemed to be in excess of what would be snow melt, a whole lot of excess. It turns out that Golden Corral had their electricity turned off about 2 weeks ago, and the fire line burst, and so the sprinkler system had been running long enough that there was basically Golden Corral became a swimming pool. The pictures that I saw, the water was built up to the level of the serving tables.
Oh, no.
So more to follow on that particular issue. I'm sure that there's going to be a whole lot of give and take, I'll put it politely, between the utility company that shut the power off and the insurance company for Golden Corral. That concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Not to mention their request for a reduction on our water bill, likely, unless it came through the fire system.
Actually, it was the fire line
Oh, it was the
itself.
fire system itself.
We immediately went on to see if there'd been a problem with our system, because our new automated system would have automatically picked up that there was water running through there like crazy. We had nothing, and we still showed 0, so it was totally through the fire line.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Any questions of Mr. Fearborn? Okay. Anything else, sir?
That is all, sir.
Okay. All right, well, we'll move on with the agenda. We have no committee reports. Next item is the consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda tonight. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
move that we approve consent agenda items A, city council minutes for February 8th, 2021, and item B, approval of safety and traffic enforcement program.
thank you, sir. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. This is Councilmember Holman, and I will second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Mr. Holman's made a second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson, aye. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Mr. Circo?
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Holman,
Can you hear me? Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. We'll now move on to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3599 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3599 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing an amendment to the fiscal year 2021 capital budget to provide funding in the Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Fund.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
I move that we approve the second reading of Bill 3599, budget amendment, vehicle and equipment replacement fund.
thank you. A motion's been made. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Holman, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3599. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson, aye. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3600 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3600 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Central Power Systems and Services for preventative emergency generator maintenance and repairs for a 3-year period.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
move that we approve Bill 3600, award of contract emergency generator maintenance.
thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Holman, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3600. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson, yes. Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. Now move on to new business. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3602 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3602 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, establishing stop signs within the city limits of Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Kraft to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As council is aware, Bristol Drive was recently, the bridge on Bristol Drive was recently completed, which connected Stonegate to the Brookside neighborhoods. That's resulted in kind of a change of traffic in that area, so we took a look at traffic control measures and are recommending the establishment of 2 four-way stops in accordance with the our stop sign policy, which calls for a four-way stop to be established at the intersection of collector streets. We are requesting that an all-way stop be established at South Sunset Lane at Bristol Drive and South Sunset Lane at Country Lane. That concludes staff report.
Thank you. I think for Mr. Circo and myself, we thank you for that. I think folks down there on Sunset are going to be happy with that. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Krass or comments? Well, hearing none, then I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend.
I move that we approve the first reading of Bill 3602, establishing stop signs.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Holman, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3602. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson? Yes. Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
A big yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3603 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3603 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative cost-sharing agreement with Cass County, Missouri, for the completion of certain transportation improvements to Ward Road.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Jonathan Zur, City Attorney, for the staff report this evening. Bill 3603 seeks approval of a cooperative cost-sharing agreement with Cass County to complete certain transportation improvements to Ward Road. Under the agreement, Cass County will pay $800,000 of the $5.34 million anticipated cost for completion of the improvements. Constructed improvements will include road widening, installation of curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and the construction of other traffic safety features for Ward Road as approved by the voters for the general obligation bond recently. Following the completion, the city will continue to provide maintenance, and the agreement has been approved by Cass County at this time. That would conclude staff report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
That's a quick report. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Zur? Big project coming up. Yeah, we're excited about it. Mr. Circo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, how's the time span working with MoDOT as we begin that work? I'm assuming from the more the north end working toward Ward or 58, so we can match up the roundabout at the same time we're finishing up our project there. I assume that's how we're planning it.
I'm going to ask Mr. Krass to address the timeline, but in general, you're correct. I'll let him give a little bit more detail on this.
First of all, our engineers and MoDOT engineers are speaking with regards to the construction schedule. Our hope is to have our plans finished in April, which would allow for a June construction start, which is approximately the same timeline as MoDOT's work on Ward Road and 58 Highway. And we're also working with them to coordinate our detours will be required for Ward Road as well as the roundabout, and we are coordinating those with MoDOT as well.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on the project? Okay. Well, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend.
I move that we approve Bill 3603, Ward Road Cost Share Agreement.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilmember Holman. I would gladly second the motion. However, this is a fantastic project for the entire city, but it has become a very important project to Ward 4. So I would defer my second to Councilmember Abdelgawad if she'd like to do so.
I'll take advantage of that and second that motion.
Thank you very much. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3603. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Resounding yes from me in Ward 4.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson? Yes?
Two thumbs
Councilmember
up.
Burke?
My car and I say yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Oh, we've quickly gotten through unfinished and business and new business. Now move on to public comments. This time we'll take does anybody from the public wish to address the council at this time? We have one member of the public in the audience, I see. No, he's waving off. But if there's someone out there in the ether world that wishes to talk to the council at this time, you can contact Mr. Ekey through mekey@raymore.com. We will wait 1 minute in the event that you wish to communicate with the council, and that time starts now.
Your Honor, while we're waiting in this minute, I would like to take advantage of the situation, if I may, to let the council know that I believe this week, you all will remember that Councilmember Townsend was nominated to be on the KCATA board, and I believe his confirmation hearing in Jefferson City is this week. Is that correct, Councilmember?
Yes, Wednesday.
So we'll all be keeping him in our thoughts on Wednesday as he goes in front of that particular questioning session.
All right.
That concludes our minute, sir.
All right. Anything? Mr. Ekey says nothing. So we'll now move on to mayor-council communication. I'll start from the bottom of the screen up tonight. Mr. Jacobson, do you have anything?
Not a whole lot, Mr. Mayor, thank you, but I do want to send out a huge thanks and my deepest congratulations to the Public Works for the yeoman's work that they've been doing with all the cold weather and the snow and everything we've had. I've actually seen pictures of various crews out working in this cold and snow and ice, and I think we all know what kind of a toll that can take, especially when you're in 18, sub-zero temperatures. I just say sub-zero. Once you're past zero, it all kind of feels the same. So also wanted to let Mr. Mustine know that I've heard great compliments about the ice rink. That seems to be a huge success. I know you've referred to it as a learning experience, but whatever you've been learning has you've done very well. Very much looking forward to tomorrow evening. And our community conversations. I think there's a lot we can learn from that. I truly enjoy those. I'm really looking forward to hearing what our residents have to say and what we can do. And I'll finish it up and say, I'm sorry I have to work tomorrow or work this week, Councilman Townsend, or I'd come down and give you all the support I could down there. So hang tough with them. Don't let them get to you. You'll do a great job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just agree with everything Councilman Jacobson had to say. I've seen so many positive comments come out of our citizens about how Public Works handled the situation, this weather emergency event or whatever. That's hopefully it's 100-year cycle things, but. Obviously, the folks in Texas would love to have our public works people down there cleaning their streets off. But and I am looking forward to the community conversation. And the old saying, when you get lemons, you make lemonades. And maybe this Zoom meeting we have could transition into some kind of hybrid meeting, which we could get more participation through people showing up physically and through the internet. And so we'll see how it goes tomorrow, but I have full confidence in our staff and Mr. Ekey and the planning that we're going to have a good meeting with a lot of good information. So I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody that's there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Abdelgawad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will echo the shout out to Mike and his crew on the snow removal. In our family, we joke about the heated streets in Raymore, and so we commented, you know, that we could tell the electricity didn't go off here for very long because our streets were cleared right away. So nice job, Mike, and please pass that along to your crew. Also looking forward to tomorrow night. I was a little disappointed to hear the number of people we have RSVP'd. It seems like we had 300 people in the room for the last one, and I know people have Zoom fatigue and all of that, but I will share that information out with everyone I know tonight and hopefully encourage a few more participants, and would encourage council members to do the same. And then finally, the plan for Ward Road, it just keeps moving forward, and that's great news. People in Ward 4, I know John and I have talked for a long time saying, we can't fix that road yet, and it's county's road, and you know, all those things for years. And so it's wonderful to finally have the bond issue passed so that we can fund it, and the partnership with Cass County, and finally see that moving forward. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Circo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, reaching out to Mr. Kraft, thank you for the all stops that you're putting in, sir. Hopefully that'll help that people who speed up and down that road on the top and coming down, but with that four-way stop, that'll be appreciated. Thank you for your guys did a wonderful job. I've got a lot of comments about how they not only took care of the streets, moved the snow, how they got the snow out of people's basically hauled up in special areas so they didn't get in driveways. They did such a great job. I got nothing but positive praise for your crew that go out there and did that work. I want to thank Nathan for all you've done here with the getting out that ice rink going, and we're getting ready for the spring. And thank you for that. I guess I'll finish up with saying a big kudos to our commissioners in Cass County. In the last few years, with Bob taking over and some, they have gone the distance in getting things done for us in the county, and now working with us on Ward Road. It's a big, great thing that our city and our county are working so well together, and that's a big positive for me, and a big thank you for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Circo. Mr. Berenson texted me and said he has no comments this evening. I'll turn to Mr. Holman now.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would concur with all the comments made this evening. I would like to dovetail a little bit in that I agree with Public Works and Parks, and Police Department. I've said for a number of years to our employees in Sherborne that our citizens are hungry for new amenities and new roads and different things like that. But for a staff that I think is probably pushed to the limit, they're showing they're hungry as well. I mean, Mr. Crass's job, I think, could be filled every day just by standard maintenance that needs to be done. Yet we are constantly working on new projects with new roads to expand the city. Same thing can be said for Mr. Musteen's department, all the departments across there. So, Mr. Fairborn, please pass on my appreciation. The staff is top notch as always, and it continues to show through every week when we get these reports, sir. Thank you very much. Second thing I have, Mr. Townsend, please do not let the lure of the State House take you away from us. We're sending our finest, but we want you back. And the final thing that I have this evening is not good news. I would ask everyone on the council to keep former Senator Bob Dole in their prayers. He was recently diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. An exceptional gentleman, 97 years old, World War II veteran who was wounded in combat in Italy, presidential candidate multiple times, final presidential candidate, I believe it was against President Clinton, and an outstanding American and human being. So keep him in your prayers. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to echo the comments of my peers with respect to our public works. And I'll also add to that love is an action word. We definitely praised our staff, public works, parks and rec, but the staff study that we received a few weeks back definitely highlighted that our staff is pushed to the limit. So it's definitely on us as a council that we make sure we show the love and make sure they have the equipment they need, make sure they have the funding they need, and they have the personnel they need to continue to do great things for this city. So again, thank you to Mr. Musteen, to Mr. Crass, and all the department heads and those who are out there who braved the weather while we were sitting at home, just drinking our cocoa, looking out the window. They were out in it, making sure that we're able to get out when we needed to, and making sure things were taken care of. So again, and patrolling our streets. And so again, thank you to everyone involved in regards to that. We're thawing out from it. We're able to kind of lick our wounds and prepare for the next round of whatever next is. But again, as it behooves us as a council to make sure that we take that staff study and put it to practice and be good stewards as we have been doing, and I'm encouraged that we will continue to do for the community. And thanks again for your support as I move into this next question period on Wednesday. Don't know what the heck I'm walking into, but I'm going to go into it with, as best as I can. So again, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two different compliments to give out. First off, I wanted to give kudos to Constable Sanitation. It was nice to not have to worry if they were going to get my trash. I knew they would get my trash, and it was a tough week with lots of snow, but I knew they would take care of it, and they did. And we just had to be a little patient, and everything was taken care of. So awesome job. And also I wanted to thank, on behalf of the RAPEC NEA Teachers Union, I wanted to thank all the school board candidates that came out and interviewed with us on Saturday. We got a chance to talk to all of them but one, and we were able to make a decision with our group and have two recommendations for our members. And I wanted to thank all of them for their willingness to come out and volunteer for a job that has no pay and probably has a lot of complaints to deal with. So I definitely appreciate them for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the things that I failed to do at the beginning of the meeting this evening was that, as you know, previously this evening, during the evening news, President Biden offered up a moment of silence for those lives lost to the COVID pandemic. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take a moment of silence now to recognize those lives lost through this pandemic and keep them and their family in your prayers and thoughts. Thank you. A couple of comments that I have this evening, and one of them does relate to COVID. On a positive note here, today was one of the first days in a long time that Raymore has had 0 positive cases reported on their daily reporting. I'm excited about the trend where that's going, and hopefully it means that we'll be able to, as we all know, be able to come back to some level, degree of normalcy, but with a lot of precautions. I think we're going to have masks for quite a while. We're probably going to practice social distancing for quite some time in the future, but it does show progress in that we're moving forward with people's attention to the issue, given a lot more attention, and that hopefully the vaccination process will get its feet on the ground more solidly here real soon and help continue this downward trend. We're excited about that. Also want to say thank you to our Public Works Department. Not only were they taking care of the streets, but we had a lot of calls on frozen lines as well. Water meters were frozen up. Water meters were fairly close to the top of the ground. They were taking care of those and putting in new meters and helping people get their water back into their houses. So there were a lot of facets to Public Works actions through these last couple of weeks, and I want to tell them how much I appreciate them, because I was actually getting calls and they were getting right on them, and I really do appreciate their hard work and their efforts. One of the other things that the chief and I noticed is that the cold weather, while it's terrible to have, it does have a positive effect on crime. Our blog, crime blog, was only 1 page long today. It's usually about 1.5 pages to 2 pages, so crime was down during the cold spell as well, which is good. And And I also am looking forward to tomorrow evening. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to share with folks what we've got going, if they haven't seen what we've got going, and it'll help us with our strategic planning in the future. And I'm really pleased to have so many that have signed up already. It'll be interesting to see how it works out for us, and I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I have no further comments. I would entertain a motion. We don't need to go into executive session, I assume. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend.
I move that we adjourn city council regular session for February 22nd.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. It's Councilmember Holman. I'll second the motion.
Mr. Holman seconds the motion to adjourn. Any further discussion? Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson? Yes. Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
He said yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you all. We are adjourned. Have a pleasant evening.